Let's move on to learning goals 2 and 3, which are the most important learnings to carry with you throughout this presentation. Money has 3 functions. The first, and the most important in this series, is that money is used to store value. Or in other words, money is used as a savings tool. It conserves and therefore honors the time and energy we spend earning it. Just like the energy stored in the battery of your phone, money should also be able to store its energy or purchasing power. This monetary energy can be conserved as savings or transferred to consume or produce goods and services. Which leads us to the second function of money, is that it functions as a medium of exchange, or in other words, a trading tool that can be used with other humans in exchange for goods and services. The third function of money is that it is a unit of account, or a way to price the goods and services. Money, as a unit of account, allows us to measure the fruits of our labor, or the fruits of our time and energy. Anytime you see the word money in this presentation, you can think of it as the 3 functions you see here. Before we move on, I'll ask you, what is money? And you should say, money is a store of value, medium of exchange, and unit of account. So now we've completed our second learning goal. Let's move on to the third learning goal. Let's identify the 6 properties for a money to be considered sound over time and over space. There are 2 properties of money that allow it to be a good store of value over time. Those are scarcity and durability. We can rate any given money on these properties. To illustrate, we'll rate cowrie shells. But before we do, let's explore what these properties mean in the context of money. Scarcity. Money must have a limited supply relative to the demand for it. Scarcity ensures that money holds value and cannot be easily replicated or counterfeited. If money were too abundant, basic supply and demand tells us it would lead to inflation, which reduces its purchasing power and undermines its usefulness as a store of value. Out of the 6 properties of money, scarcity is arguably the most important. If something on earth is not scarce, its value does not hold strong, and our money is no different. Durability. Money needs to withstand the wear and tear of everyday use. It should not degrade or deteriorate quickly, as it circulates through numerous transactions. A high degree of durability is therefore necessary for a money to store value over time. So now that we know what these properties over time are, let's rate our first kind of money, cowrie shells. For this presentation, we will rate each money using a grading system, from F being the worst grade to A+ being the best. In terms of their scarcity, seashells just aren't that scarce. As they wash up on shore every year, they aren't hard to find more of and add to an existing supply of money. So for those reasons, we'll grade the scarcity of cowrie shells as C. As for their durability, cowrie shells are relatively delicate and prone to breakage or wear over time. This fragility could limit their long-term portability and effectiveness as a store of value. For this reason, we'll give it a grade of D. Though these grades are arbitrary, it's reasonable to say that most people would give grades that similarly reflect this money's ability to be a good money over time. Now that we've graded this money as a store of value over time, let's do the same but for over space. Or in other words, how well this money can be used as a medium of exchange and unit of account across geographical distances. Acceptability. Acceptability is a property of money that refers to the willingness and readiness of individuals, businesses, and institutions within an economy to recognize, verify, and receive a particular form of currency as a valid means of payment. The ability to accept a particular kind of money can differ based on the regulations of a community or country. An example that contrasts the acceptability of US dollars would be Argentina versus Iran. Though many businesses today in Argentina accept US dollars, most businesses in Iran do not. Portability. Portability refers to the ease and speed with which money can be transported and carried from one place to another. For money to be practical as a medium of exchange over distance, it must be lightweight and compact. Without portability, the efficiency of money as a tool for economic exchange would be significantly impaired. Divisibility. Divisibility is another fundamental property of money that refers to its ability to be easily and accurately divided into smaller units or denominations. In the context of money, divisibility means that a currency can be broken down into smaller increments without losing its value. Uniformity, or as some would say, fungibility, is a property of money that refers to its consistency in appearance, quality, and characteristics across all units of the currency. Let's quickly go through these remaining properties, starting with acceptability. Cowrie shells were widely accepted and recognized as a form of currency in specific regions where they were commonly used. In these areas, people were familiar with the value and function of cowrie shells as money, which made them acceptable within local economies. So for those reasons, we'll give it a C. Now for portability. While individual cowrie shells are small and lightweight, large transactions or accumulation of wealth in cowrie shells could lead to storage and transport challenges. Therefore, we could grade it at about a B. Now for divisibility. Cowrie shells cannot be easily split into smaller equal parts without significant effort or loss of value, so it's easy to see why we can give it a grade of D. And last, their uniformity. Cowrie shells are naturally occurring objects, and as such, they vary in size, shape, color, and quality. This lack of uniformity could lead to difficulties in accurately assessing the value of individual shells, so we'll also give their uniformity a D. There you have it. We've successfully evaluated a form of money based on its essential properties for it to be considered a good money over time and over space. This is a chart that will show up many times in this presentation, so please, take the time to pause the video and familiarize yourself with this slide. To make it easier to understand from this point on, whenever you see red text, it will indicate bad, yellow text will indicate okay or mediocre, and green text will indicate excellent. Congrats! You can now identify and describe the 6 properties of sound money. Now it'll be easier to continue the story of money. Join us in the next video as we talk about gold.